Hello everyone, and warm welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well by God's grace. Okay, so today I want to share with you this vegetable stew, okay, or we can call it cabbage stew or whatever you call it, but it is amazing. Okay, so I just want you to stay with me, right, and like this video, share and subscribe if you haven't and you like what you see. Okay, let's get in. So for this recipe, I'm going to use pork, okay, and I have pork shoulder. I'm going to marinate it with black and white pepper, some ginger and garlic, and then onion granules, some chili flakes, some soy sauce, and then some oyster sauce, okay. And here I'm adding some corn flour. So you mix it all in to make sure that it's nicely coated, okay. And then what I will do is I'll cover it and then I'll let it marinate for like an hour. Okay, so some of them have the skin, some don't, so yeah, right. So I'll cover it and set it aside, and then I prepared my vegetables, but I'm not going to show you cutting the veg, okay. So I'll just show you what I have. So I have some green beans, some white onions, and some carrots, okay. I also have some red onions, okay, and I have some ginger that I have Julienne, and then some sliced garlic, right. I have some chili, I have green and red chili, and then my tomatoes. So here is my cabbage, okay. So I used sweetheart cabbage. The sweetheart cabbage is more leafy, okay. So in a pot I added like half a tablespoon of oil, and I'm going to pan fry my pork, okay. So yeah, as this is going on, I added some fresh rosemary to give it more flavor, okay. So I'm going to pan fry it on both sides. Once it's nice and brown, yeah, and juicy, of course, I'll take them out of the pan and set them aside, okay. This is a painstaking process, pan frying pieces of meat, okay. Make sure your fire is on high to medium or medium to high, however it is, okay, so that you get a nice brown exterior and you don't release the juices from the meat, okay, right. So that is done. I'm going to take it off, or take them off, the pieces of meat, into another plate, and then we continue from there, okay. So this is an unusual way of making your stew, your cabbage stew or your vegetable stew, okay. Well, as the meat looks so good, and as usual, if you know what I'm going to do in a minute, right. I had to eat some, okay. So I added the rest of the oil to what was left in the pan, and I added my red onions, okay. So I'm going to fry it for a little bit, right, okay. Then I will add my garlic and ginger. Okay, so the ginger will go in first, and then I'll add the garlic. So I'll pan fry it a bit. Okay, so this is going to give it a very beautiful taste. It's going to give it an unusual taste, a taste that you not actually experiencing the way Ghanaians normally make our stew, because of the way we pan fry the ginger and the garlic and then chilies, and the chilies were chopped. I didn't blend it. There's no blending in this, okay. So I added my tomatoes. So this is chopped tomatoes. It's canned tomatoes, literally. It's not fresh tomatoes that I chopped, it's canned tomatoes, right. Okay, so I let it simmer. I added a couple of bay leaves, okay, and you let it simmer. You cover it and let it simmer nicely, and then you come back and you continue with the process, okay. So with this, what I will say is cook it on low heat or medium heat. I don't know. It's just that my heat, is different, like in between the both, okay. So here I added curry powder, turmeric, and a teeny weeny bit of calabash nutmeg, okay, ground calabash nutmeg. And here I am grating some fresh nutmeg into this stew, okay. So you know that the stew is going to be super amazing. Okay, so it's just incredible. The taste was amazing. So what goes in next will be my green beans, because the green beans, it's tougher than most of the vegetables. Okay, so you let it go in, you let it simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, then you add the carrots, right? So the carrots will go in, and then you add your cabbage. Okay, so what I did was I let the onions go in last. Okay, so this is how I used to make my cabbage stew when I was young. The only difference is how I cook the meat, and then adding the Julienne, ginger, and the garlic. Okay, I didn't do that. This is a new addition. Okay, but apart from that, that's how I used to make my vegetable stew or cabbage stew. Okay, so you give it a stir, you let it simmer, then you add your cabbage. Okay, so there's no need for you to cover it for it to simmer. Just give it a stir, like make sure it's nicely stirred, then you add the cabbage. Okay, because the cabbage needs to soften a bit. Okay, so what we're going for is, we're not going for soggy vegetables, right? We're going for nice and tender, a bit of crunch. You get a bit of crunch. So here I'm adding some vegetable stock, okay, to the stew for it to help it steam the cabbage. So that's the main reason. You can use water if you don't have vegetable stock. I had it sitting around, it was going to go to waste, so I had to use it because I was making vegetable stew, cabbage stew. Okay, my mom loved this stew and we love it, apart from my sister B. That's why you can see only the unpaid vegetables. Who vegetables? So when you be in every already. Anyway, so once it steams a bit, okay, you go back in and you stir it. Okay, you make sure it's nicely mixed. Okay, then we will add our meat, but before then you taste for salt. Okay, taste for salt and make sure it is nice and seasoned. Otherwise you add some, as I've just done here, right? So give it a stir, make sure it's nicely mixed, and then you add you introduce your meat. Okay, as I'm doing now. And this is so good. If you look at the succulency of the beef, word of the day, succulency. I don't know say a correct word though. Me and my kama asem pa macho. Because I succulent in the succulency. Right there. This stew was good. It was really, I actually hate the stew from my husband. I hope he doesn't watch this video. I hate the stew in corners of the deep freezer so that he wouldn't see. Okay, so the last bit I did was to add my onions. Okay, that is how I made my stew. When I was young, I loved to add the onions to give it a bit of crunch, just in case overcook the vegetables. At least the onions will give me that crunch. Okay, so that is a little bit of a tip over there. Stir it a little bit, and then your stew is super ready, and it goes amazingly with rice, always rice, and amazingly with yam. Okay, my dad loves yam and cabbage stew. He calls it garbage stew. Dada, any garbage stew, cabbage. Oh, me say garbage, mama drink. Alado, you choke, no? So there we go, nicely done. And for the meat, you can use any other protein. Okay, you can use chicken, you can use beef, anything that you want. I use pork because it's cheap. For talk a crabby, talk it to a bipe, talk it to a bisca crabby, when ya and I'm be. Okay, that's why. So it's a trick. We are seeing cost of living crisis. Thank you all for joining me. Okay, I really do appreciate all of you. Don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe if you haven't and you enjoyed this video or you want to see similarly exciting and delicious recipes. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.